What's up? What's up? What's up, fam? All right. Guess what we gonna mix today? We are going to mix some country trap. Yeah, I said it. Country trap. Yeah. Some people don't even know what that is. But if you don't know what that is, you will know what it is today. I love it. Been doing it for a long time. So now I'm starting to see that cats starting to hear it and put it out in their music. So let's go do a mix to some of the production that I made regarding country trap. You hear me?
What's good, family? I hope everyone is having a great day wherever you are in this world. So let's go ahead and talk about this country trap mix. I'm just going to go ahead and delve right into it. I want to keep you guys too long. So what I did, if you notice if you have seen the drill mix, you will see in the drill mix video that I talked about gain staging. And this is the same thing what I did already in the country mix. That's my first approach. I always do my gain stages once I have my audio tracks in. So I've already did the gain staging portion. So this is the outcome of the gain stage portion. And again, you would want to always do your gain staging because if you have, normally these tracks would be at 0 dB. Again, as I explained in the drill video, going through playing the whole tracks in its totality more than likely would probably distort the master output bus, and that's what we don't want. Okay, so we do the gain staging so we could be able to play all the tracks and they're at 0 dB and they're not distorting the master output, which is giving it some dynamic range. So that's what we want. So I've already done this portion right here. And let's just go ahead and listen to the mix so far, what I've done to it so far. I'm just going to play the intro and a little bit in the beat. Okay, again, that was the beat playing, so you can hear kind of what I've done or hear what the country mix trap sound like. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with we talked about the gain staging, so I've done the gain stage portion already. Also, what I like to do, I like to, keep my tracks labeled and in order. I always like to keep the drum kit together, keep the instruments together in a certain order, because I always let my bass to follow after the drum kit, then instruments, and then vocals. And so if you do have vocals, if I did have vocals in this track. Okay, so that's how I do that. Also, what I like to do, if you look at the mixer, you will see the kicks, snares, and clap. And you'll also see the open hats and just everything that belongs into the kick. So what I do, I always bust my kick, all the instruments, the kick, the snares, just the drum kit itself into its own drum bus. And if you look here, this here is my drum bus. So all those tracks here, these audio tracks that belong in the drum kit, is being routed and sent to this drum bus. So I could just focus on, if I wanted to lower the whole drum kit as a whole, I would simply go to my group channel or my drum bus and do it that way, lower it down. Or you could do this thing. There's another thing you could do with the fader. Um, I think I forgot the name of it, a voltage fader, V fader or something in Cubase, what they call it. So basically what you can assign all the tracks to one fader, and it will, whatever position that the channel's fader is in, it will lower it at that level. It won't change its position, but it will lower it where it's at all at the same time. VCA fader, yeah, that's what it's called, VCA fader. So Cubase have those. A lot of other DAWs have those as well. Pro Tools, I think, have a Logic Pro. A lot of them have them now. So very good thing to take advantage of and use them. Use them. That's what they're there for, and will take care of you. All right, so we see that the drum kit is being routed to the drum bus. I did that. And my instruments. I also will route my instruments into a instrument bus. I call it instrument bus channel. So I will route all my bass, electric bass, my samples, if I used any, my guitars, leads, you name it. I would mini grand, piano, and little vocal FX. I would put all that stuff in the instrument bus, which is here. Okay. So it has its own. If I wanted to lower all the instruments the same, I would do the same in the instrument channel, or I would add me a VCA fader. Okay. Now, a lot of times what I like to do, once I set all this stuff up, I would actually like to sum. If I don't want to sum in the DAW, I will sum out into my summing mixer. And later in another video, I want to do a video how I do that thoroughly. I kind of did it in the drill mix video using the SSL 4K Advantage sound when you engage that plugin in the SSL 2 Plus. Check that video out again, and you will be able to see how I did that. And I'm going to go in a thorough video using my PM8 summing mixer and how I actually route audio out into the summing mixer and route it back into the DAW. So I've already done this already. And if you look at this PM8 console channel, it's going back into the DAW. This is actually the mix that's coming back in, the sum audio in 2 tracks that's coming back into this PMA. I call it the PMA console. So I like to do that a lot. Sometimes I would sum internally via the DAW, or sometimes I will sum out externally using summing mixers. Okay, so I do that. I've done that portion already. So when I'm mixing, I'm already mixing going out, direct out of the audio interface into the summing mixer. And bring it back in and, add all my effects and EQs and things that I need to add. So let's go over here to the plugins. Let's run over here to the plugins right quick. This is like, for example, my kick. I know I have that muted, but I have a 2-track playing. The mix is already done. But I'm just showing you like when I'm using like my plugins. So I like the SSL plugins a lot. I use these a lot. And as you can see, I like to drive my input. As those certain distortions that we like to our ears or harmonics. So I'll push it, and when I push it, I'm not actually, the output of the SSL plugin. When you actually push in the input, you're going to have a high output. So what you do is you back whatever you pushed in your input. You will want to, attenuate the output to kind of level it out a little bit so it's not distorting, in a good balance. So you can hear, instead of the volume increases, to hear the actual effect of what it's doing and the harmonics that it's adding into. Okay. And then here you could see where the filters, if I filtered out anything, which is here, or high pass filter, which is I didn't need to use really. This is my gain. You see I used a lot of gain on this low end here because I wanted, that kick to, get through. I wanted some beef to that kick. and also, compression. So I want it to be a little punchy. So this is my compressor section right here, just on the kick drum alone. And I probably would add a little of, some clarity in it. If I want to get up here into the upper frequencies, I would add it to taste. Okay. So that's pretty much basically, it didn't do too much to the kicks. As you can see, I did the same thing with the kick two, as you can see here. But I used a different SSL plugin. I used the Waves version. So I like to use a little bit, they're the same, but use different companies. Just, they got their own little twist to it. So, just adding certain character. I just like to do it. No specific reason why. I just do it. Also, I like to use Cubase's plugins, internal plugins itself. I love to use like their tape and their brick wall limiter, and sometimes I use their comps or gates or even other tools that's like de-essers and so forth. So this is what is going on with the instruments in the drum kit. Again, I'll just pull them up. Again, SSL, obviously. This is the snare. And, I just add certain things in the snare, if I wanted to bring out certain things, the crack in it or whatever, or bring out some of the high frequencies, get some sweetness in there, just whatever you hear. And again, I push the drive input level, and then I'll balance it out with the output, attenuate it to where it balances out at a nice little level. So I'm not hearing it just a rise in the level, but just the actual, again, harmonics that's added to it to make it, give it a little taste, give it a little flavor, as they call it, flavor. Okay. And again, I use in conjunction with Cubase's plugins. They are Magneto 2 tape, brick wall limiter. I will add those in. So not too much, not too much. I just use what I need. Again, these are the drum kits. This is the Snare 2, and the same thing with the SSL plugins that I'm using. So pretty much you got the gist of that. Are the plugins that I'm using on each individual instrument. Okay. Now I've done this all throughout. Depending, so I would carve something if I needed to carve anything or boost anything throughout the drum kit. Now let's go over here to the drum kit bus. Okay, we're going over here to the drum kit bus. All right. As you can see, I got a few things on the drum kit itself. You can see that I wanted to stereo enhance it with the stereo enhancer. So I'm adding this plugin, which will like kind of spread the drum kit out a little in the mix or further out. I use the H comp, add a little overall compression to it, not too much, just to give it a little overall compression to sort of kind of give the drums a little glue or to gel it a little bit. I only use this Shadow Hills compressor on the bus. I didn't use it to do any compression, just only for the sound, just for the distortion or the taste. So that's why that's there. Also using Brainworks limiter, did a little limiting on the master bus for the drums, so you can see that there. And let's go over to the Cubase plugin. So I added a little bit of the Cubase plugins, which you will see the Magneto 2 and the brick wall limiting. I do that. So I'm kind of consistent with the tape, as you can see all the way through. Kind of like if you were in a, studio using a tape machine. So let's go over to the instruments. All right. So the sub bass, I'm using a sub bass, my 808 bass. It's not really heard as much as the regular electric bass, but I added that sub bass in to complement the electric bass to give it a little more oomph in there, So didn't really use a lot of EQ on anything. I just use a little bit tape saturation just on that. I didn't really feel the need to use any other plugins to the 808 sub. Now here's the electric bass. Just used a little bit spread. And of course, the SSL plugin, I use a little bit here on the bass, bring out a little of that crunch if I needed to. A little bit of the low end to bring out some of the upper frequencies. And the reason why I do that and check those, so to see how it would sound in different monitors, to make sure I won't lose any of my bass information. So saturation I use, and this is another good thing to help get those upper harmonics so we can hear them. We can hear this bass in small mediums or small like computer audio headphones, which we lose a lot of that low end, but still we could hear it and it produce well in these small speakers, in these consumer speakers. Okay. We got the guitars, lead, obviously. The guitars, I'm using, again, this one plugin by Brainworks called Character. Love this plugin. Kind of really actually do add some nice character to the guitar. It just sounded bland when I first used it, and without the plugin on it. But when I added this bad baby, oh, it put some oomph to it, like really great character to it. Again, saturation, a little saturation, not too much. I just give things to its taste. And the leads and so forth. So now I don't want to go too far into these. I didn't really, some things on some of the sounds or the instruments I didn't put plugins on. I felt the need. I didn't need it. You're just saying if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it just gelled and went well with the mix. So I didn't need to do anything. So a lot of times, I might not need to use any plugins because it sounds great where it's at. But if you need to use the plugin on anything or use EQ compression or whatever, by all means, go for it. So that's pretty much the instrument. Let's go to the instrument bus. Okay. On the instrument bus, I didn't really use much. Again, I didn't need to. Felt the need that I needed to use any more EQ or compression. I just used the saturation. So that's all I needed. Okay. Now let's go to the effects. And here's the effects. I only use, as far as effects, is just the instrumental, just the reverb. And I only use the reverb for the snare. And you barely could hear it. It's just for thickening. And just add a little something to it. So I just use a little bit of the reverb. I use this reverb from Manny Mericklin bundle. So I like a lot of his stuff from Waves. So I use that. Okay, so that's effects. Let's go to the master out. The master out. Let's pull this up. All right. And the master out is very interesting. You will see what I used a lot of things on here, and I'll explain it, what I used on this bad baby. So let's first start with, I like to use the Slate Digital Virtual Mix Bus, on the master out. And I have it at the SSL 4G. So, going through the master out, giving that little SSL sound, using that by Slate. But I'm using it very gradually. I'm very graceful with it. So it's just not much, just a little touch here, a touch of here, a touch of that going through. All right. So we'll go out. And next, I love this multi-band compressor. I always use this on all my mixes. I use this setting by Greg Wells. It's just sounds so great. And what it does, it brings out that mid that mid frequencies, those mid frequencies, and it's just, oh man, it sounds so great. It's just really awesome. If you want those plug-in settings, you want those settings from Greg Wells, I can definitely give it to you. Just comment down and let me know, and I can give you the settings. But you have to use it with a multi-band compressor, and you can use any multi-band compressors, and I can give you the settings for what you would need to achieve that. Okay, so right now I'm just using the stock Steinberg multi-band compressor. Love it. Works well. Does the job. Does what I need it to do. All right. Next is the we talked about this in the drill mix, and this is my mix bus compressor by Brainworks. It's pretty much an SSL mix bus compressor. It's called the Townhouse Bus Compressor. Basically, they took a lot of parts from the SSL console, different SSL consoles, and created this module here. It has a different, grittier sound, and love it. Works well. So let's go talk about the settings. I'm using my settings in here, my mix bus settings. Not using a lot of compression. I'm only compression maybe about 1 to 2 dB. That's all I need in the threshold. My ratio will always be set to 2 to 1. The reason why I want a low ratio, because I don't want that much compression, because I want my transients to get through, to push through, and punch through. So it's still loud. I won't lose any of those transits going. My attack, very not a fast attack, slow attack. Again, we want the transients to go through, and a very slow release. Well, not. I guess the release would be fast, not slow, because you don't want it to. If you have the release slow, I mean, it's slowly releasing the compressor, and we don't want that, and you're going to get little artifacts from it. So we have it at the minimum amount of that taken away of our transients. Okay, I gave it a little bit of makeup gain. Didn't need to do anything with the rate. That's just the auto fade thing, and tell you how many seconds your auto fade will be going on. So it looks pretty much just like the G plus or the G mix bus compressor, just a little different color and different design, give it that little old vintage look. So yeah, that is the Townhouse Mix Bus Compressor by Brainworks. All right. Next, what I use my Dangerous plugin. I love this plugin, man. It's really great. I only did a little bit boosting here. Looks like I boosted. I can't really see it from afar, but I don't want to move. Let me see. Hold on one second. Boosted probably about 90 hertz in that area, and my cut around about 24 at 24. Frequency at 24 in the low end. Didn't really need all that rumble or something that's maybe possibly under. So didn't do too much of this. Add a little bit of in the high end, in the mid frequency. So didn't really do too much. It just gave it a little bump here. One thing about this Baxter EQ. When you boost the frequency, you're boosting other frequencies as well, just like in your car stereo. So you have to be very careful when you're doing that and mindful of that. Okay, so that's another plugin that's made by Brainworks that I use on the master bus. This is a master plugin, and they also have the mix version as well. All right, next is, I don't want to take that off. Love this bad baby right here. The Sony Oxford Inflator, which are created by Sonics, a company called Sonics. And this thing is just awesome. It's just give it more thickness, space. Just, you can't go wrong with this plugin. You could add much of the effect as you want, and it just still sound great and sound even better. It's very nice. So again, you use it to your taste. It add a lot of nice character to the sound. Very nice character to the sound. I love it. Definitely, if you get your hands on this bad baby, get it. It's well worth it. You can't mess it up or go wrong with this. So you can throw it on. You can also throw it on each individual channel. Like Mick, you can throw it on the bass. Kind of mad. I should have probably done that. I can imagine what that would sound like on the bass, but didn't need it. So maybe next time I'll experiment with it on the bass. Okay. So those are pretty much my plugins that I use on the Master Bus. I also, when I'm mixing, I use this thing. I also talked about this in the drill video. The Arc 3 plugin, the room correction. I do have my room treated. I have my ceiling treated and the walls treated, but I still like to use it in conjunction with my treated room. Love it. I can see the overall mix in the real-time analyzer. And like when I'm also playing the song, I could listen into virtual different environments. So let's just take a look at it. So now, I want to see what this song would sound like on the IK Media iLoud monitor. So let's pick that one. As you can see, the waveform changed, and we lost a little bit of the bass. But let's check how it sounds. So just go through them all. Okay, I'm going to play it. And this setting is the iLoud micro monitor. Let's turn it off. We'll add it back a little bit of the low end, not too much. Was that it took off, not noticeable. Let's go to the iLoud MTM. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't have the power button on, so let's go back to the iLoud monitors, as you can see. Go to the ATM. Let's see what it sounds like. In the 80s nip it's just the NS10. Look how much of the low end that I lost. But I still hear the bass. And see, guys, this is what was saying. You want to do stuff like this and check and see how well it translates in different monitors, and you still hearing the bass. That's a great and good thing. Still sounds good though. All right, let's move on to this high end near field. All right, let's move on to another one, small near fields. You can see that the frequency response has changed of that particular brand. Let's go to another one. Mid field. So we can hear the changes. Let's go to computer. Let's see what it sounds like on. Well, let's say 15-inch laptop. Check this out. We lost a lot of low end, right? But you can still hear the bass. Okay, let's check it out on smartphone. Ooh, look look how much you lose on a smartphone speaker. Let's see if we can still hear the bass. You still hear the bass. It's not as prominent, but we still hear it. Let's see what it sounds like on TV. Look at this dip right here. That's 5K. It's a big dip. But that's what it sounds like in those type of speakers. Bass still translate well, right? Alright, let's go to 26-inch LCD. That's what it sounds like in those types of speakers. And my main thing, I want to know what the sucker sounds like in a car stereo. So let's go to this car stereo. So this is what it would so-called sound like in a car stereo. However, I still go out to my car and check the mix and see what it sounds like. And IK Media pretty much hit it dead on. It does sound like that. Alright, let's go back and turn this off. This is the regular mix. I'm going to go ahead and take it off. Let's plug it off. We don't need it anymore. Alright, let me run this back. Alright, now the last thing, I always use this on my master bus. I'll say this again. I said this in the drill tutorial, and this is made by Magic's Sample Magic. And what this is a where you can reference your mix to other tracks that's out there that you hear on the radio. Like when you're mixing, just think of it like this. Don't just mix, but have a direction, have a goal. Where do you want to go with this mix? And that's what I always do. So I would, whatever genre I'm doing, I'm going to pick a song that's close to that genre. And I'm going to listen to that while I mix and try to build to that standard, if that makes sense. So you always want to have your reference tracks when you're mixing. But that's what you want to do. So I'm not going to play the other song, but that's what I reference my mix from. My mix is depending on what song that I'm mixing. I would reference and listen to those and build to that to try to get it to sound in that ballpark. Because you know what it does, you have a goal, you have something you're reaching to, and that's what I do all the time. And you want to make that part of your best practice. All right. So this is pretty much the mix that you're hearing that's playing right now. And also, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the final master mix and I'm going to have a link up in down description below. You'll be able to click on that so you can go direct to the song and listen to it mixed and mastered. I noticed class was a little bit fast. I didn't want to go into too much hard detail because it would be very time consuming. I just want to show you a little something how I mix my little country trap mix. But you know what? I have a little format, a little standard, and I mix them all in that same format. And of course, I'll mix a taste of what it should sound like or what I'm referencing from the reference track. So guys, that's pretty much it. Again, please subscribe, like, or dislike. Hit that notification button and comment and tell me what you like about the video or what you like about the song or anything else you want to know in detail what I did, what more plugins I'm using, or if you have any questions about the gain staging and the summing. Again, I am going to make another video on summing, using summing mixers or summing amps. Okay, so guys, definitely I appreciate everything you guys do by listening and giving me your time, and I just want to sign out. God bless you all. Have a good day.